Colin O'Keefe here for LXBN TV. Reaction to leaks surrounding the National Security Agency's PRISM program have been harsh, both from consumers and from international bodies that include the European Union. Joining me now to share his thoughts on each of these reactions is Jason Weinstein, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General with the Department of Justice and attorney now with Steptoe & Johnson, where he is author on their publication, the Steptoe Cyberblog. Jason, you wrote that the response of many EU officials has been one of, quote, hyperbole and hypocrisy. How do the European Union's privacy laws stack up, and is it possible that even the European Union is spying on American citizens?
Well, that's a great question, Colin. And first, let me just say at the outset, I think there's very little debate over the fact that the PRISM program is legal, is lawful under our laws. Congress gave this tool to the president, and the president's using it. And up to now, the courts have said that the way in which it's being used is appropriate and consistent with the law. And I think there's probably very little debate that the program has been effective. Certainly the examples that members of Congress and intelligence officials have given indicate that the program has been effective. I think it's an entirely reasonable debate for people to have whether the effectiveness of the program justifies the risk to privacy. And I think it's a very reasonable debate to have whether the degree of congressional or judicial oversight is adequate. What I don't think is reasonable, as your question suggested, is the reaction of folks in the European Union, which I do think has been hyperbolic and hypocritical. And I say it's been marked by hyperbole because they've essentially characterized the program as rampant wholesale spying on Europeans by the American government, which I think is not a fair characterization. And it's been hypocrisy because the laws in the EU and in many countries of the EU, are far less protective of citizens' privacy than anything we have here in the United States. The European Union likes to champion its laws governing consumer privacy as, in their view, superior to America's. They've got a system of data protection commissioners who have centralized authority over the way the companies use their customers' data. In the U.S., we have a different system where the laws vary by sector of the economy and where we've got a more diverse set of regulators. And I think reasonable people can debate which system is more protective. But when it comes to law enforcement and national security, it's not even a close call. On the law enforcement side, we have a system of checks and balances, and we have judges acting as checks on the power of prosecutors. We have constitutional and statutory protections of privacy that are greater than anything they have in the European Union. And in fact, when I was at the Justice Department before I came to Steptoe, it was not uncommon for European law enforcement officers who were seeking our help in getting data from American providers for use in their investigations to complain that they couldn't meet our standards, that our standards were too high. And on the national security side, the same is true as well. The reality is that in many European countries, the government has significantly broader authority to get content and data about online communications and telephone communications than anything we have in the U.S. In addition, in the EU, providers are required to retain data, which they're not required to do in the United States. And in the EU, providers can voluntarily provide data to the government in law enforcement or national security matters, and in the United States, they're legally prohibited from doing that. So the inconvenient truth, as I say, about data protection in the EU is that despite all the efforts by the EU to protect citizens' data when it comes to their providers and companies they interact with, there's very little protection for citizens' data when it comes to the government. Just as a couple of examples, in the UK, a government minister, not a judge, but a government minister, can issue a warrant to seize data in not only national security and foreign intelligence cases, which is significant enough, but also in criminal matters or in matters affecting the economic well-being of the UK. And in recent weeks, we've learned that the UK's government communications headquarters has a project of its own called Tempora, where they're siphoning data from the transatlantic cables that bring data from internet and phone calls into the UK and storing and monitoring that data. In France, the Prime Minister's office, which is essentially the equivalent of the White House, can authorize a national security-related wiretap without any court involvement whatsoever. And in fact, they can do the same thing in criminal matters as well, which is certainly staggering if you ask any federal prosecutor in the United States whether they could get warrantless access to communications in criminal cases. The answer would be an emphatic no. In Germany, just as one other example, not only can agents intercept communications without a warrant in national security matters, but they can actually get a court order to allow them to use a government-operated computer virus that they call a federal Trojan to invade the networks of providers and suck up data and content of targets of an investigation without the provider even knowing about it, let alone the customer knowing about it or having an opportunity to challenge it. In my view, if the same officials in the EU who have been so vocal about PRISM took a very hard look at the national security laws in their own countries, they would find that those national security laws, in some respects, make the FISA statute and the Patriot Act look like privacy laws and not national security laws. You asked about EU spying on Americans. I don't think we know enough at this point to know whether any of the governments in the EU have been targeting the communications of Americans, but I think there's very little doubt that they have been intercepting them. And there are a number of reasons for that. First of all, as I just suggested, the laws that govern EU countries provide very little, if any, restrictions on what the government can do to obtain data. Number two, if an American is communicating with a European individual whose data is being monitored by his or her home country, then that American's communications are going to be intercepted. And of course, at the time of interception, the governments of the UK won't always know who the person is who's communicating or where they're located. So, for all those reasons, I think there's very little doubt that Americans' data is being monitored and intercepted in the EU, just as EU citizens' data has been intercepted as part of the PRISM program.
Definitely. And second, what are your thoughts on how consumers have reacted to ISPs? Is their frustration with the ISPs sharing their data with the government misplaced?
I think it is. And it's not to say that they don't have reason to be frustrated, but I think those frustrations are better directed at Congress, which provided the authority in the first place, than at the providers. In fact, I think that Google and Facebook and Microsoft and Yahoo and Apple and others deserve praise and credit and not criticism for the way they've handled the response to these revelations. As I said before, they didn't provide this data voluntarily. In fact, under U.S. law, they're precluded from doing that. They provided the data because they had court orders or other lawful directives that required them to do it. And I think as those companies have made clear in the last few weeks, they push back when they can, and they comply when they have to. And I think that reflects their commitment to user privacy, not a disregard for it. And I think also they deserve credit for pushing hard for transparency about the way the number of law enforcement requests and national security requests they get, and the manner in which they respond to those requests. Google's been doing that for years, issuing a transparency report every 6 months, publishing data on court orders received at all levels of law enforcement and national security officials in the U.S. and other countries as well. And I think that data indicates that the requests affect a very small percentage of users, but still, Google has set the standard by which other companies should be judged in terms of its transparency. And in recent weeks, Microsoft and Yahoo and Facebook and Apple have all done the same thing. And I think they all deserve credit for the transparency they demonstrated up to now, and they're pushing the government, which is great. They're pushing the government for the ability to be even more transparent. So I think that those who are frustrated with the authorities that the government has should not direct that frustration at the providers. The providers are doing the best they can to comply with the law while protecting the user's privacy. But it's Congress that created these authorities in the first place. And I think that if people in the United States have concerns, those concerns are appropriately directed down the street from where I'm sitting to Capitol Hill.
Definitely. Jason, I'm glad we got the chance to actually have a conversation on PRISM, as it seems the conversation regarding this has been usurped a bit by the chase for Edward Snowden. Once again, that was Jason Weinstein of Steptoe & Johnson. For more of his analysis on this and other issues associated with the National Security Agency and privacy and cybersecurity law in general, be sure to visit steptoecyberblog.com. And if you're not already watching us here right now, be sure to visit lxbn.com for hundreds more of these LXBN TV video interviews, along with curated commentary from the LexBlog Network's more than 8,000 members. Thank you for joining me today, Jason.
Thank you.